what is a tip that you would say is like one of the top tips for a young entrepreneur?
Okay, I could give a couple, but I'm gonna give one really important one. My most important tip that I would give an entrepreneur that's just starting out with their business is do not ever lower your price for anyone.
It's the Working Mom.
Everyone, welcome to episode 5 of the Working Mom podcast. Today on the podcast, we have another awesome working mom, business owner, founder and CEO of Love Events. And I'm so excited to have you on the podcast today. Rolanda, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. And thank you. First and foremost, thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much for taking time out. I know you're busy scheduled to come and share a little bit about Love Events and a little bit about your journey as a working mom. I started the podcast just to kind of talk about basically working moms. Like, we're out here with businesses, we're managing our family, husbands, things that have to do with our kids, and just so many things that's on our plate. So I just love hearing other experiences from women that are out there just doing basically a little bit of everything. So tell me a little bit about Love Events.
Well, Love Events is an event decor company that I started a couple of years ago. And what we do is we basically provide services to people that are having events such as weddings, birthday parties, baby showers, you name it. We do all different types of events. The services that we provide include decorating and some planning, even for certain events. It was the first thing that we would start out doing with the customer is doing a consultation. In that consultation, we would talk about all the particulars, the things that that person really wants to see at their event, as far as colors, heights, lengths, widths, themes, you name it. We talk about all of that. And then after that point, we start going into pricing. After we do the pricing, that's when we begin all the physical work. On the day of, Love Event shows up to the event venue of your choosing, and we basically lay out the plan that we put together. And then at the end of your event, Love Events would return back to your venue of choosing. So we bring everything that we bring in is a rental item for the customer. We bring it in that way because it helps keep the price point down. It also keeps the stress down for the customer. We don't want the customer worried about who's going to help them pack these things up at the end of the night and transport it to wherever it needs to go or where they might need to store these things. So we take care of all of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I know that one of the main reasons why I was really interested in having you on the podcast is because when I first saw even like your home decor, I'm really big into decor and events and things like that. And when I feel like that sometimes when I walk in other people's like designs and even in their home, that I'm always like easy to critique it. And the first thing I remember ever saying is like, Ro has some awesome taste. Like, I feel like this is the first time in a long time that I've even been into somebody's home that seems like something that I would do. Like it really just, to me, caught that connection to be like, she does a really good job at this.
Well, you know what? I said the same exact thing when I came to your house, your first house. When I came there, I was like, wow, and I'm just talking about the decor. I was like, wow, I really love it. And then I found out that you did the pillows on your couch yourself. And I was like, oh, I was impressed.
Yeah, that was really like a huge connection for me, because I feel like I can easily just pick little things apart, especially when you have that real creative eye. And being creative is so time consuming. Like, I feel like people don't understand the mind of a creative. And I've pretty much always been like that and made a lot of things. And basically, like anything that I can envision, I try to bring it to life myself, especially if I can't find it. But it's not as easy to do. So whenever I see someone that has that same kind of creative type of mind and creative vision, I'm honestly always really impressed.
Me too. I'm the same way. When you say critical, I can be the same way when I go to events. And my husband, he hates it I've gotten better with just like keeping my critiques to myself. But
Minding your business.
I watch stuff and I'm like, I wish they would have did this and did that. But that's just me not being disrespectful, but I am like a little bit of a perfectionist when it comes to like tablescape and just overall appearance of like a room. I'm really into room decor, and I've always been this way as long as I can remember. I've always been a person in my family who people will always reach out to if they were doing an event, a family gathering, a family birthday party. I was always one of the people who my whole entire family would call on to help out with decorations. And that reminded me of a funny story. It's not really funny. It's funny now, but at the time it was really bad. A couple years back, it probably was maybe like 7 years, maybe six, I'm not sure, but my cousin got married. And so she called me and she was like, I want you to help me decorate my wedding reception. So I was like, yeah, fine, cool. That's always been my role. So that on the day of, we got down there, it was her, the bride, myself, and another cousin. And the three of us, we decorated the whole reception. It came out nicely. I was the person in charge of buying all the pieces and everything. So we put it all down. She was very pleased, very satisfied. She loved it. And it really looked good. But we didn't take into consideration how long it would take to do all of that. It took us close to 3 hours. And then we had to leave there, drive across town, back to the room, get showered, makeup fixed, hair done, and basically get ready to go be in this wedding. Long story short, we were about 2.5 hours late getting her to
Wow.
her wedding. Her husband, he was pissed. She was so stressed out. It was really sad to watch. But in that moment, that's when Love Events was born.
Especially weddings. I mean, doing a baby shower or like a 50th birthday party or something of that nature, but weddings, I mean, I just always have the utmost respect when I see, a creative be able to pull off a spectacular wedding. You walk into the room, everything looks amazing. I actually, even with real estate, I always use weddings, like that scenario with a wedding and a bride, as like the way to kind of loosen up some of my realtors, because they always feel like, just having that initial consultation, no matter what your business type is with someone, sometimes if you're new to it, then you get nervous and so forth, and they want to make it so perfect. And I always say, envision a bride. She basically
Mhm.
plans out this perfect day. They open the double doors for her to walk into the reception hall, and
Mhm.
everybody is like standing on their feet. They're all cheering. Everybody thinks the room is amazing, and the bride is standing there almost about to kill somebody because this is nothing like what she said she wanted. And I always even use that for my realtors, because I'm like, and the reason why I use that scenario, because I'm basically like, you're the only one that knows how it was supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody on the outside will probably still think it's amazing, still think you did a good job, still think the room is beautiful, still think your presentation is beautiful, but you know what the vision was initially. So when you walk in and you see that, your linens were not pressed, you see that everything is, not the same color, the flowers that you order are nowhere to be found, like, you're the one that knows that because you know the initial vision. Even though the end result is still an amazing, beautiful moment. But sometimes, especially for a bride, it's really hard to get past that. I mean, you walking around trying to have your special day, but it don't feel as special because it's not, how you envision it. So that's just always like super kudos to me, to anybody that can pull off those big events.
Yeah.
Because it
But
is not easy.
even with baby showers, like nowadays, baby showers are ran differently than they used to be back in the day, probably when we was having babies.
Mm-hmm.
Now a baby shower is a production. Like the mom to be, she comes up in there and she is looking like almost like the bride. And
Mm-hmm.
so when people have to put on a production, and when I say production, I mean you got to go get your makeup right, your hair, because the photographer's going to be there snapping you, so you want to look your best. You really don't have time to worry about the room. I've found that's what us running around the way we did that day for my cousin, being exhausted like that, that taught me a valuable lesson. You might have time to do all those things, but it would be smarter and it would be best for everybody if you put your time into something more attainable, like just worrying about, if your makeup is perfect, or worrying about if you might need your dress tucked in a little bit in the back or something like that, or worry about if your husband got the right socks out. Worry about stuff like that. I think the room and the flow of the day should be the least of your worries. That's like one boulder lifted off your shoulder. Because trust me, when you get on the production, you got way more other things to worry about for that day. And I just feel like the core shouldn't be one of them. So when we fell on our face that day, I was like, you know what? I think that I should form a group of people and just be the person that goes around and does these things for people so that they won't have to worry about this. Now, granted, you go on Instagram today, and there's a big market for this already. It's a lot of people that already do event decor. But back then, 6-7 years ago, we didn't know that people did this. This was new to us. So I'm quite sure if we do, we would have hired somebody. But I just always tell people that Love Events is a service. Is a service to you. We do all of the hard work so that you won't have to, even down to coming back at the end of the night and packing that stuff up. Because once you have, it's exhausting going around the room greeting people all day and smiling for pictures. Like, that gets exhausting. At the end of the night, the last thing you want to do is have to start taking down backdrops and stuff like that. I just feel like this type of service, not just Love Events, but all of the event decor industries, like, we are heaven sent for real. People don't want to recognize that all the time, but we really do provide a very necessary service.
And I feel like when you have events like that, like you said, it's more to me, and this is just like you said, from my experience being a bride and so forth. And I actually always pride myself a little bit where I don't really like if I get an invite to be in somebody's wedding, because I've only been in one wedding in my entire life, and that was mine. And I know sometimes people are like always, bridesmaids and in tons of weddings. But not me. I've only been a bride one time. That's the only time I've been down the aisle. So I kind of like that story, and I like to keep it that way a little bit. But even from my experience, I basically understand that it's more of a feeling and more of a vibe than the room. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like the same thing happened to me. My room was pretty much like nothing like I wanted it to be. I feel like I was just looking around at my coordinator, and I actually hired like a whole team. I had wedding coordinator. It was a whole team of people. And I just felt like I was looking around like, where's my money that I gave you? Like my whole thought process was like, where's the money that I paid? Like, I feel like I couldn't really enjoy myself because I was too focused on the room. And now looking back at it, it is like throwing additional events after that. Like, you really have to step back away from the decor and focus on the moment, focus on the vibe, focus on the feeling. Because even like you said, just something simple as just going around taking pictures with everyone and having so many guests and everybody wanting to pull you, from this way to that way. It just can make an event like so exhausting when you feel like at the end of the day, sometimes like this really wasn't my event. Like, I really just had it for all of these people. So now I kind of, as I got a little older, I really like to focus on making sure like I enjoy myself at my own event.
Yep.
That's the most important. And what about these one-year-old birthday parties? I mean, those things are
They can get pretty elaborate. I'm telling you, these 1-year-old birthday parties are not the same parties that we was given back in 1998, 99 and all that. These birthday parties are extravagant.
Yeah, custom t-shirts. I mean, I've seen photos with like you said, the whole productions, everything. I mean, I don't even know if I know for a fact the baby will never remember this, but I don't even know if they have a chance to really participate in any of this stuff. But like you said, it just turns into a full production. So I'm always like super impressed, especially when somebody can pull it off, because those things they're just not easy to do. And like I said, for a long time, when I was a stay-at-home mom, I pretty much used to do like weddings. I used to do the balloon decor for people. And I just always felt like it was just way too much. Like, even though I can do it, to turn it into a business is just like, it's not easy. It really is not. Especially because people don't want to pay for it, to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, people always want a lot and they don't understand what comes behind it. And it's like, I could be blowing up these balloons all night long to do 3 arches, 2 towers, all this other stuff, and they want it, for less than $100. And it's like, that is not going to work. So
Right.
it's not just about putting some decor on a table. Like, you really have to have that business structure, that entrepreneurial mindset behind it, because that's the only way that I see like a lot of longevity in a lot of businesses, not just, event planning specifically, but you got to have that mindset to be able to really run a business, like not just focus on like, hey, I like blowing up balloons and I'm creative and I have a visual mind. Like, no, you have to know how to run a business.
You are so right.
Yeah,
You
it's
are
just
so
not,
right.
it's not as easy. So what are your thoughts on, basically, and especially in your industry, during the pandemic? So around the middle of March, COVID hit the entire world. I mean, before then, we didn't even, ever think of coronavirus, COVID, or anything. And it's like, by the time, in my opinion, like once it really started coming out that this is what was kind of happening, I felt like everything kind of shut down just like days later. So it wasn't really like any time to plan. I mean, schools were closing down, people were being sent home from work. Obviously, no large gatherings, and all of these state regulations started coming into play. So, what's your thoughts on basically like everything with COVID and the pandemic, and kind of like how is business flowing? Is it picking back up? Are people still, going out to have events? So like, how do you feel like your industry specifically is handling the pandemic?
Well, starting from the beginning, when the pandemic first hit back in March, um, the events industry suffered. It really did, because it just got really discouraging. All of the venues shut down. And so without a venue, you can't have an event, period. Like, people think that they can just put on the same exact production that they were going to put on at the event space in their houses. It doesn't work. It's not the same. It won't be the same. So a lot of things got canceled. You got people who were having babies and wanted to have like these big, elaborate, beautiful baby showers that I was already booked and paid for. They canceled because COVID was a huge question mark over everyone's head. Like, nobody knew that it was even going to happen when it happened. And more than anything, nobody knew when it was going to be over. So that made it like really tough to say, well, let's just push it out a month. Let's push it out 2 months. Like, you didn't even know. We were so scared. Like, we didn't even know whether people would even ever want to gather again, even after the venues open back up. We didn't even know if they would feel safe to even want to have an event with more than 50 people around, and things like that. So it was devastating for all of the events industries personnel, because we had to just be like out there hanging out on the limb trying to comfort people, but at the same time, we don't know the answers, so we can't really give you the answers as to when your event is going to be able to go back into effect. Or like, it was bad. um but going forward, the event venues are open again. So now you got people, they're doing smaller gatherings, which is great, I feel, and it's smart and it's safe. But it's still different, because if you were booked to do a wedding for 150 people, and then once things open back up again and everything resumes, now the client wants to do 60 people. So that looks totally different than the 150 people. So now you got to revamp your whole vision. And it's a lot of work. COVID placed a lot of work on a lot of people, because it's a lot of things that got to be put into place for an event to be safe and to be good and stylish, all while dealing with COVID.
Mm-hmm. Especially because, to me, once it hit, it wasn't, I know everybody tried to associate it with the flu, but to me, this is a whole different feeling, especially initially, because nobody really knew. And, we're just watching the news and people are actually like losing their lives. So I know a lot of events that was going on was kind of like, even major events. I mean, things with celebrities, everything was just starting to close. And I started realizing, like, if they're closing down some of these major venues and major events where, millionaires are able to put in basically whatever safety measures they possibly can because they have money, at their leisure. And, the average person definitely might not have been able to just hold on to, certain events. But like you said, I've been seeing the same thing. People are still having their weddings and they're getting so creative with it. So just the visual effects of finding like creative ways to still throw their events, still have gatherings, especially during the summertime, because obviously you could take a lot of things outdoors. Um,
Mhm.
but what are your thoughts about like if we possibly have like a second wave, like with everything? I know that I read somewhere recently that a few zip codes in New York were already shut back down. I think some in New Jersey were already shutting back down. Schools are still pretty much virtual 100% in Maryland. Um, so do you think that they'll get as strict, like as far as government with completely like shutting the state or city completely back down? Or will we probably, now that we've been able to adjust to it a little bit, because I feel like it is some adjustments. Like I feel like we pretty much have taught ourselves how to live with COVID a little bit, like still kind of
Mhm.
have things open but have minimum regulations, or will we ever see like a full shutdown again behind COVID-19?
Well, I just feel like this. If it is a full shutdown again, my advice to anybody would be just have your contract stuff in place so that it protects you because um, even though the event might be getting shut down because of, they have to take safety measures and that's it's for my safety and your safety. But at the same time, if you've already invested money into putting this event together, it's kind of hard to get that money back to give it back to people. So I would say as long as your contracts and stuff are put into place correctly, whereas though people understand that yes, it's been shut down, but this is what has been done, and we can't do anything to undo this. So let's try to figure out a way to work together and do something at a later time for you, or I don't know, give you back some of your money. I don't know, like, but I would say everybody just make sure that you always keep that in the back of your mind, even next year, even 3 years from now. Always think of what if a pandemic hits? What would I tell my customer? How would I satisfy my client with knowing that we can't do what we had discussed that we were going to do because of safety? So how does that look? I think people should always keep that in their head because I'm telling you, this has taught me a lot. Going through this whole pandemic and how it just like happened one day out of nowhere, and then it was like, oh, everything's closed. This has taught me a lot, not just about business, but just even as far as making plans for myself. I have to always keep that in the front of my mind. What would be my plan B? What would be plan C? I think about stuff like that because they do keep talking about a second wave hitting. So, only God knows. We don't know. I just say just have your backup plans ready.
Hmm. Yeah, I feel the same way. I feel like so many things was taught throughout this. And even with businesses, and like you said, even in our personal life, being able to just make those adjustments, I do feel like that COVID has made some things like a whole different um like viewpoint. Like I feel like some things are definitely extinct because of COVID. Like I don't know. I rode past the movie theater the other day and I was just like, I don't know if that will ever recover. Like it was probably like three cars out there and I'm sure it was the workers. And I was even going to run in for a moment just to get some cinnamon pretzel bites because I love cinnamon pretzel bites at the movie theater. And we are big movie people. And I was like really missing my cinnamon pretzel bites, but I was just like, it's nobody over there. Like it's like a desert. So I do feel like some things will probably never come back. Like snow days for kids, I don't think that will ever exist again because we didn't have systems in place, for our kids to be able to still conduct school, still conduct business, anything, if everything was shut down for the day. And now everybody has systems in place. Everybody is able to, at this point, like the world has just adapted and adjusted to still being able to move forward with COVID. So hopefully everything, never gets completely shut down again, because we still have so many means to be able to conduct business. Our personal lives still go to the store. I mean, when the hair stores were closed down, I think everybody was in a full panic, especially when we couldn't get things shipped. I mean, we were just like, wait a minute, we can't even get a pack of braided hair. We can't get anything. And we weren't prepared for this. And I even feel like I'm pretty much of like a stocker at home. So I always have a lot of stuff. But
Mhm.
think about like when they close down everything for months and you can't replenish your stock. I don't
Yep.
care how much you already had or how much detergent you already had. We're constantly going back to replenish that once we use it every few weeks, you know what I'm saying? And go grab another one here and there. And when you go to the store and you can't even grab anything, then it's like, no matter, people's stockpiles were even down to nothing because we just couldn't get to anything. So I think now everybody is like way more prepared. And like you said, even during that time, I remember my husband and I, we were actually in the process of purchasing a banquet hall. And a lot of people, we only had like maybe a few family and friends that were aware of it. And to me, I was really upset when we got outbid at like 2 or 3 auctions for some halls that we were interested in. And then it just felt like, everything is in God's hands and everything happens for a reason. Cause I could just not imagine, going into that kind of venture and then literally 30 days later, everything shuts down. Like our business plan was that we were going to start having events within the next 30 to 60 days and people were going to be booked and inside. And like you said, now things are being held down to, 50 people or less or so forth. So even some of the larger event halls are kind of suffering. I even saw Martin's East was on the auction block for sale and I couldn't believe it.
Wow.
Yeah, they had Martin, and I was just like, wow, because Martin's East is, a larger venue. It's not more of a smaller hall. So I feel like people that have smaller halls right now and smaller event spaces are really about to be in winning season versus, people that have these halls that they're used to budgeting for 500 guests and 250 guests. Like, I don't know if we're going to see that even probably in the next 12 months. Like, I don't know if technically a gathering of 500 people indoors will be anytime soon.
Yeah, I don't think so either. The only thing that I will say is I think that if we do get a second wave, people won't be so startled this time. So I think that a lot of people have gotten creative on how to maneuver with this pandemic going on. I think that a lot of people have gotten kind of used to it. So even though it still would suck to have the mail shut down, you can't ship, you can't get nothing shipped to you, and just the different things that we need in our everyday lives. That stuff will hurt us to have that not be at our access. But at the same time, people who already suffered through the first wave, I think they've pretty much figured some stuff out. So I think everybody's going to be okay. I really do. I don't have, any fear for my business suffering because I don't do really large events anyway. I think the biggest event I've ever done was 100 people, and that was kind of big for me. I like to keep it small, keep it 100 or less. So um, yeah, I don't think a second wave will really hurt the events people again like it did before. I'm telling you, I seen people get creative. They was doing, and me, myself included, was doing house events, gatherings for people for like 10 people, dinner parties, backyard gatherings. We were doing photo shoot prop sets for people's houses. I mean, you got to
Drive-by
figure it out.
graduations. I saw the drive-by graduations. They were
Yep.
awesome. Like, yeah, they were fun to watch on social media too. Drive-by
I did.
baby showers. I saw that on social media.
Yep. Did one of
Yeah.
those. So I think people just finding their way around it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
definitely wanted to piggyback on your statement about the contract. So again, this is a time where not only for business owners, no matter what business you're in, or businesses that you're planning on opening, because obviously COVID brought about like all types of new businesses. Like everybody decided, to open a business, which is absolutely fine. Everybody was home quarantine with time to kind of focus on their business goals. And like you said, think about plan A, B, C, and D at that time to kind of figure out where my next moves are going to be. So on the business side, what is a tip that you would say is like one of the top tips for a young entrepreneur? So somebody's trying to start their business. They don't know where to begin. I even get questions all the time about like, how do you start an LLC? How do you do certain things? Like a young entrepreneur that's starting out, and about how specific and how important contracts are, time, consultations. I know a lot of people don't even charge consultation fees. They just sit on the phone for hours with people instead of actually formally having something set up to kind of say, look, to sit down and get this started. If you plan on hiring us, we'll go into the second phase of this consultation, and just basically like setting a business plan. So like, what are some tips, or even just one specific tip, if you can't think of a few of them, but like, what do you say to like a young entrepreneur trying to start their business, especially right now following COVID?
Okay, I could give a couple, but I'm gonna give one really important one. My most important tip that I would give an entrepreneur that's just starting out with their business is, do not ever lower your price for anyone. The price point that you come up with, stick to that. Here's the reason why. When you lower your price for a customer, right? That customer will be really grateful that you did that. And what happens is they will come to you and utilize your services or purchase from you over and over again. They will become a repeat customer because they're getting a deal from you. Constantly giving that discount, your business will suffer. And I'm telling you, when you give a discount to this person, they're going to come to you back to back to back. They're going to keep using your services. They're going to keep buying from you because they're getting a discount. The minute that you decide to take your price point back to where it was supposed to be in the first place, they are going to look at you as if you are trying to overcharge them. And then they're going to go to the next person and they're going to become their customer, because in their mind, now you're trying to raise your price up and overcharge me. When in all actuality and all reality, you're not overcharging them. You're just charging them the same thing that you've charged everyone else. And they will, so in turn, you're going to end up losing a customer. It might feel good to have that repeat business, but once you try to do what's best for your business, that customer is going to leave you and go to the next person. For instance, if you were selling hair, right, and your hair was $300 a bundle, somebody that you used to work with wants to purchase hair from you, and you say, you know what, it's 300, but for you, just give me 275, right? That person is going to buy hair from you every time they want new hair. They want to buy from you because yours is only 275. Now, a year from now, you've worked on your business plan, you looked over your finances, you realize where you're losing money at, where you're gaining money, and now your price is what it's supposed to be for everyone. That person is going to look at you like, oh, you've taken your price up. I don't want to buy from you anymore. So keep your price where you set it and don't lower it for anyone. Don't give discounts because people will expect that same discount every time.
Yeah, and I think that is an amazing piece of advice, especially in your industry, because I feel like people are so afraid to tell someone what their fee is. Like they're always just on edge about it. And I feel like even in my industry, my realtors are always so afraid to kind of say what their commission is going to be. And I'm like, you are offering a service, and hopefully you plan on offering an amazing service to your client. Like, it is your time, it is your effort, it is your knowledge. Like, especially like you said, even though you have several people blossoming out and say, hey, I'm an event planner now, the same thing we have in real estate. Sometimes people will say, oh, the market is, oversaturated and terms like that. And I always feel like that's never the case, because nobody can duplicate me. Nobody can give you the service that I can give you. Nobody can give you the knowledge that I can give you. So I come with something very specific that I offer for my service. So I always feel like, why are people always so afraid to actually just say what their price is? Like, if you're really going to back it up, you know how easy somebody will pay the next person twice as much as what you're offering them, because they're not scared about it. They're not backing down from, this is my price, this is my commission, this is how much I charge for my service. And I feel like, especially with events and especially with brides, because obviously they'll call and say, we're on a really tight budget, we're trying to, go to the honeymoon, and then you turn around and discount your price, a few $1,000s, and you see 2 days after the wedding that they're somewhere in Jamaica, having a lavish life. And then when they come back, they pull up to their new Bentley in their house that they just bought, and they just cry so broke to you. So you discounted your prices.
Right. Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, people get too emotional with it. Like, I'm sorry. Like, sometimes when you're a business owner, business is business and personal is personal. Like, if this what it is. And like you said, I also feel like on the other side of it, you should do that for one person, and then somebody else find out that, how much did she charge you? And then they find out they're trying to throw the same or similar baby shower at the same exact event. Yeah, they feel like they should get a discount as well. And you might say, well, I know, I've known her for a while, so that might have been kind of like a discounted price, but you can call and find out, like, but you want the same exact service. And my time does not get discounted. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't come with any kind of discount.
You better speak it. You better say that. I'm telling you, what you're saying is exactly what happens. That's why I said, when I was going into my spiel about everything, I said, your business will suffer, because now everybody wants that same price that they've referred to you, and they want that same price over and over again, because you did the baby shower for them. Now they want to have a small wedding. Now they want to have a this. Now the baby's turning 1, and they want that same price every time. And it doesn't work for you and your business. You got to separate the two. Business is business. For a long time, I wouldn't even do my business for my family. I wouldn't do it because I couldn't bring myself to charge them. And I feel like that's not conducive. That's not productive for love events, to keep worrying about what the next person got going on. Like you said, you're supposed to charge your worth, your time, your effort, your hard work, physical work, and the people that help me put everything together, the day of, people that travel with me, they will hard work, what I'm saying? I have to pay them. So you can't keep discounting stuff just because you are emotionally attached to people. I get emotionally attached to strangers. That's why I really had to do like some hard, tough love on myself, because I'm the type of person, I may not know you personally, but if I know your story and what you're going through, I might just say, well, don't, just give me that. Don't give me this. Don't worry about, that's bad for business. That's bad.
Yeah. And I tell people all the time, like, you have to be confident. You have to speak, as a business owner, like, you got to step yourself far away from the personal. Cause I see people, like, their first consultation, they're already calling like, well, I told them that, yeah, we do charge, a small fee for rentals, but they don't have to worry about it. I'm like, you just met the person 30 minutes ago and you already discounted your price. Like, wait a minute. Like, let's stick to what the terms are of this agreement. You know what I'm saying? Like, how is it that you tell them, well, once, I'll discount it though. Like, I feel like it's a little bit of confidence as well. People are so afraid to really speak for what their worth is. So it just is a piece of like being so confident about what your worth is and what you bring to the table. Because like I said, I feel like especially in the event planning business that people are quick to try to shortcut you guys. Like, they're short to be like, well, well, I just wanted to get a small backdrop. Like, they'll try to say anything to make it like, wait a minute, it's the same backdrop. These are the sizes that we offer. This is the price of it. And I always feel like you get what you pay for. So I never feel bad if someone doesn't want my service. Like, number one, I want to work with people that want to work with me. So at any point that you don't want to work with me and you want to work with somebody else, I wish you all the best, number one. Number two, I don't want to work with anybody that basically the entire time they're feeling like that I'm trying to get over on them or do something that I'm, and I have nothing but good intentions the entire process. and then you turn around and they feel like that they should get, you know, something off, or they should get more of a discount, and then they try to go over
Mhm.
to the next person, and then they call me 2 weeks later while they're working with somebody else and they're only in contract, and they like, hey Ebony, I was just trying to get a piece of your advice. Like, no, my advice is not free. Like, at this point, you're supposed to get an
Okay.
interview. You want to talk to me, we're going to sign this document, and then we can have a conversation, because the same rules apply. Now you done
Exactly.
went over there to home girl, and now you feeling crazy because your
That
service
part.
is not up to par.
That
All
part.
because she charged you less. Yeah, she charged you less, so now you're getting what you paid for. And I
Yep.
feel like that's the same thing with like everything. I always get questions that's like, do I have a hookup person that does decks? No, I don't. Like, the company that puts out, like, I use a licensed contractor, so that when I know that I'm giving thousands of dollars to put a deck on top of a property that my children are going to be running on, jumping on, stomping on, that no, I don't know the hookup deck person. Like, no, I don't know that, but I can give
I
you the
paid what it cost. I
right. I
paid.
paid for what I got. I paid for exactly what I got. I can give you the information for someone that when you put out your thousands of dollars, you will be highly satisfied. It will be licensed and
Mhm.
insured. You will have warranties. Like, I can give you that person, but I'm not going to associate my license with somebody that's out there. I don't know what they doing just because, you know, they cheaper. Like, that's not going to work.
One of the things that I learned in my journey of doing love events, I learned like certain red flags to look out for. Whenever a person hits me up and they are, trying to, mostly in the emails, they come at me with the whole, this is what I'm trying to do, and how much would it cost and everything. And then I hit them back and give them more information. And then once they start saying stuff like this is a flag to look out for. Well, I just want a small one. Or, well, how much would it cost if you don't put the flowers on there? Or, well, what about without the sign and stuff like that? So it's when people start talking like that, that lets me know that they are shopping by price and not by quality. That's not the customer that I want. I want the customer that want quality. I want the customer that want grand, that want big. I don't want the customer that's trying to ask me how much it will cost to and I hate this because people think I'm mean when I say this, but don't ask me to come do a setup in your kitchen. Like you just want me to set up this little corner in your kitchen and you want to know how much it's going to cost you to get this little one corner right here decorated in that's not what I do. That's not what I do. I do events in people's houses. It's all over my page. I do it all the time. But if I do it, if I come in that room, I'm going all in. Like I'm going that room is going to be grand. It's not just going to be the corner. I don't do that.
And you have to understand too, like you said, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because I feel like entrepreneurs don't understand when a client is not a good fit for them. Like, it's
Hmm.
okay to basically say this is not the right project for me. And especially when
Exactly.
your time is more valuable than anything. And I think that when business owners start to understand that, you know, to talk to me and to be able to get me to bring to the table what I know I do and what I know I can provide and the service I can provide, then it got to be a certain kind of person, and we might not be a good fit. I can find somebody that might be a good fit for you. Like, I don't even have a problem with referring somebody else. I know plenty of other awesome, you know, people in the industry that would love to deal with somebody like you, and maybe they have a little more time than I have. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they can devote it to that. But like you said, if my name is attached to it, I'm not going to just give you this little small area in the kitchen so that you can take pictures and put it up. And now I'm associated to that. Like, my brand is what my brand is, and I want to keep in the momentum of how I brand myself, the services that I offer. So I feel like, again, a lot of business owners don't know when it's so, or if it's okay to basically not be a good fit for someone, or to possibly kind of not necessarily like turn down the business, but pretty much, like you said, have those red flags that no, like, this is not going to be it for me. Like, I'm probably going to have to let them know, um, you know, someone else would love to work with you, but that's really not what we do here. You know what
And
I'm saying?
I'm never rude about it. I always try to be patient with people because I get it. They don't know. They can't read my mind. But I am in a season right now of my life where I do not take every client, every customer. I don't take every gig, every event, every offer that's presented to me. I don't take it because I'm more concerned about the integrity of my brand. Because I'm not just building a business, I'm building a brand. Like I want this to be around for a very long time. So I don't want to be affiliated with things that are less than what I feel like I could have given at that time. So I just won't take it. If it's certain things that, once they present it to me, and because I always say, by us doing a lot of virtual things right now, I say, well, show me can you send me a video? Send me a video of the space. Send me a video of, if it's something that I feel like I can't work with, or if it's just like not, I won't be able to really like shine as Love Events. I won't be able to make them shine as the birthday person or the person that's having the baby or whatever. I won't take the job. I won't take it. I've turned down a lot of people in October alone. I turned down a lot of, about close to 5 people. I think 5 people, 5 different parties I said no to. People were calling me about events that they wanted to do around Christmas time. And I said no, because I'm not doing anything that I feel like it's not going to be beautiful in the end. I'm sorry if that offends anybody, but every customer out there is not my customer.
Hmm. Yeah, and like I said, I think that that's like a strong piece of, um, being a strong entrepreneur and building your brand and building your business. Is not necessarily everything you say yes to. It's about knowing when to say no, and
Mhm.
once you get to a point where you can understand that all money is not good money, all everything you associate with is not going to be conducive to yourself, your personality, your business, your brand, what you're trying to build. Like you said, I always have been really big on my reputation and my integrity, whether it's in business or not. So I'm the same way. So I say, always stay true to yourself. I'm never going to, and like you said, I'm at a point in my life also where I'm not really going to associate myself with anything or anybody, any business, or on any kind of level that I'm not comfortable with. Like even if I get a small inkling that this is not going to work, I'm going 100% with my intuition at this point. Like maybe
Hmm.
years ago, even in my 20s, I may have been like, well, let me try, let me see, even though I feel like that. But nowadays, it's certain things that I'm just not going to do at all. And even when somebody asks me, I can basically mentor them on how to do it. If, someone else, a
Mhm.
colleague is in the industry, or even any realtors that I work with, or maybe I have new people that are coming into the business and maybe, they don't know what their brand is yet. They're still trying to build, but I feel the exact same way. Like when it comes to working with me, I'm not just gonna take anybody. Like it's just to me, it's not worth it when you're looking at the long game. Because that's how I see all of my businesses. I see them as something that I want to blossom and not be just a day-to-day transactional type of thing. This is something
Yeah.
that I want to build.
Yes. Most definitely.
Yeah, and I know
Yes.
similar to my businesses, you work kind of hand in hand with your husband. So I wanted to speak a little bit on that because recently I had someone ask me basically like what were my thoughts on working with my husband and as far as being quarantined with my husband. And I just feel like now COVID has brought on like a ton of conversations about like doing businesses with your spouse and kind of like how is it good, is it a bad thing? And I know that and that's why this interview, that's why this is so amazing, because I know your personality is very similar in being like a strong type of personality, similar to how I am. So
Yeah.
my husband, to me in our business, is always like when I hear people say to me like, why don't I have an assistant? And I'm just like, but I have my husband. Like I wouldn't hire an assistant because you know what I'm saying? My husband pretty much has no problem with saying, like, look, she's the boss, whatever I need, like, I just kind of fill in where I can. She runs
Mhm.
businesses, like, it has no problem. And I always say that, and even when the person asked me that, my response was like, I really feel like it takes a certain kind of couple to be able to do this. Like, I'm not saying everybody should get out there and be in business with their spouse. Like, this is not something meant for everybody, because everybody
Right.
has to know their role. Everybody has to be humble. People have to know the position that they play and not kind of
Hmm.
feel like, and also not be afraid to let a woman lead, especially if, it's their woman. But I just feel like this is not a avenue that's meant for everybody. And I know that you guys are awesome at doing it. I've known your husband since I was in middle school. So I know you guys can, definitely pull this off the same way that my husband and I are able to work in business. And even though everything might not be perfect, I just feel like it's not meant for everybody. And we have those spouses that when crunch time hits, if day of people don't step up, I already know I got my backbone. You know what I'm saying? I can make that phone call. And even when I did events, I would have my husband in there setting up flowers, setting up tables. Like we could do any of those things. And I know no matter what that I really don't need, to hire an assistant. That pretty much, if I need it, I can just hop on the phone and I know I basically have a lifelong assistant, working right beside me. So what is your thoughts on basically just overall like working with your spouse?
Working with my husband is great. I like it. It has its advantages. Well, one of the main advantages of working with my husband is that of course, he's going to go out of his way for me. I'm his wife. He goes above and beyond. I feel like I wouldn't be able to expect the same performance from someone who I hired, and they may want to do the job and want to help, but don't really understand the passion behind the vision and everything like that. My husband does. So he knows that if it doesn't go right, if it doesn't end up looking right, he knows what that does to me and how much I beat myself up about stuff like that. So he's going to he going to go just as hard as I would. It's actually like me stepping outside of myself and watching him. He's like a mini me, and it's crazy to say that because he's way bigger than me. But it's like he know what I'm trying to do. He know the thought behind all of it. So him executing is just like me executing. He knows
Mm-hmm.
what the finished product is supposed to be. So having him there working with me is great. He's very hands-on. So he does most of the heavy lifting, which is good. And
Mm-hmm.
then he's very tall, so he does a lot of the tall stuff. It's just great having him there because him being a man, and what I do can be strenuous. It's a lot of lifting involved. It's a lot of sometimes it's furniture moving and stuff like that. So him and my sons, they help, and because it's pretty much like a family business. So having them there is, I mean, it's a blessing. It's a blessing.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it. Like, and same here. Just like everybody, all hands are on deck. Like people are so, um, when they ask me, they're always so impressed by me saying like, look, the reason why I don't have an assistant because my kids can schedule these houses. My kids know how to basically do contracts with me. Like I sit in here and specifically teach them and set up like little mock files to teach them how to do contracts, how to read these documents and things like that. And like you said, to me, I feel like it's no better support. Like nobody knows me the way they do. So they understand exactly what I want done. Like my husband can easily just walk into even our investment properties, or if we're working on a new project, that he can easily walk in and know like Ed is going to freak out if she walk in here and see this. Like, please, you gonna have to fix this immediately. Like, and it just makes it just to me so even more refreshing than someone that you have to train or teach that's not familiar with you on that kind of level. Um, so when I always get that question, I don't know if you've been getting that question lately, but it was even kind of surprising to me where they were like, so how is it like, because you guys live together, then you have to work together, and then, y'all be in quarantine. And I'm like, well, he been here the whole time anyway, so I guess we would just quarantine. I'm like, I didn't even, sometimes to me, I feel like we didn't even realize we was quarantined because, honestly, our favorite thing to do is to like have canceled events and just chill around the house. Like even when people were saying that they were running out of movies to watch, and I was just like, well, you should definitely call my husband because I feel like he never runs out of movies. Like he can find a good movie like easily. Like, do you know how many millions of movies are out here in the world, like you can always find something good, you know, or something to do or something creative. And to me, when you have that creative mind, it's like it takes a long time for creatives to just get bored. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like even if I was in the house in the kitchen with the kids the other day making cake pops, and then we were supposed to do like a paint night this weekend, like I feel like it's just always random stuff that just comes to mind. So to me, when I got asked the question, I just really didn't even feel like it was too much different than it already was, other than, you know, some stores were closed that we couldn't get to. Um, but yeah, I feel the same way. Especially just to piggyback on what you said about, you know, juggling business, kids, and family. Um, you know, to me, I just integrate it all into one. Like it's just a continuous flow to me. Um,
Mhm.
so is that something that you feel like is kind of similar when it comes to um, being a mom and wife, business owner, and so forth? Like, do you feel like it's just easier to just make it all one? Like, it's just a whole family. Everything we do is just a family business, family outings, family events. Like, everything is just, you know, just integrate everything together versus trying to keep it separate.
Yeah, it's the same. Well, for one thing, I'm gonna back up the quarantine situation. Us being here together and working together, that was fine because one thing about us, we give each other our space when we home. Now we do come together, we have movie night, we eat together and all that. But a lot of times my husband, he likes to work out. So a lot of times he's down in the basement and I'm somewhere else in some other part of the house. So we know how to give each other our space. It hasn't been hard being in quarantine with him because we're not on top of each other every moment of the day. We have other projects that we're working on inside the house. I might be working on something, painting a room upstairs. He might be downstairs trying to, put something back together. But then we come together when it's time to come together. But as far as juggling business and family, my family, I really, I know this probably sounds so like phony to say, but I really enjoy having my family around my business because I trust them. And I feel like they are watching me and they're learning, but they not calling it learning. They just feel like they watching me and my vibe and how I want stuff to look. And I feel like in a way I'm grooming them to even take over, or if things expand, I feel like they would really be the perfect people to step in and run things because they have been with me from the very first event, from day one. They've been with me. They've seen the failures. They've seen the highs, the lows. They know what I didn't like. They know what I loved. They know which ones were my favorite and stuff like that. So I feel like juggling business with family, it just feel natural to me. I really enjoy it. I like having, I wouldn't, I hate when they can't work with me and I have to hire other people. I hate it because I'd rather have them.
Hmm. Yeah, I feel exactly the same way. And to me, like you said, I just feel like that it's just an easy transition for them to be able to, you know, take over because these are legit businesses. You know, these are businesses that we have that could possibly be passed on. And like I always tell my kids that even if, you know, this is not your passion, this is a lucrative business. So if I have it off the ground and it's going, you can still do your passion, but you know, keep in mind that you know you can always still run this business. You can still have this residual income happening in the background. You know what I'm saying? To still have something that we put so much into to build. So I think it's the same way. I love when I see families that work together. Um, I'm big on, you know, educating your kids and teaching them and everything, you know, that they know. Sometimes, you know, even my baby girl is always like, you know, because my friend said, what is real estate? And she'll just like go crazy. Like you're a super like weirdo to her if you don't even know what finance is and, you know, stocks or financial literacy, like just the words that they hear me use all the time. So like no matter what your business is, I feel like the more you're using it and doing it. And I also feel like a lot of my decor and the way I call myself, you know, unofficial interior designer. Like I feel like that came from even my parents. Like if you walk into my mom's house growing up always looked similar to mine. Like my brother's house looks like similar to mine. And even to be a male, people always would say like your house looks Like, how do y'all keep your house so clean? And they would always think that, you live in a museum or something like that. And it's like, it's really not true. It's just a natural state of, that's how I grew up. That's how I was taught. So I always kept things, nice and neat, always kept, decor in. I always made sure I had, my flowers up. Like, it's not just, something because guests are coming over or something like that. It was just always a natural thing. So I feel like things like that just roll over, to our kids naturally. So
Absolutely. Absolutely.
yeah, anything like that is good for me. And I know, like you said, sometimes it's a struggle when you all can't be together. So the other thing that I wanted to talk about is, I know another similarity that we have is, my oldest son graduated from Penn State in 2019, and then to pursue his master's, my oldest son now lives in Houston, which is, probably 21 hours and definitely a good flight and a nice drive away from where we are. And I know that your son recently went off to the military. And I just wanted to kind of talk about that piece as well, because I know how we are as moms. And I always feel like, similar to how when he was in college, we never excluded him from anything at all. So we would always, like, even if we have like a discussion, we literally wait until he's available to get him on FaceTime
Mhm.
so we can all have the discussion and so forth. So, like, what are some techniques or strategies, or like, what would you say about, being a mom and having a child that's kind of long distance?
Well, I I do have a son that's long distance from us right now. He's in the Air Force, and right now he's living in Mildenhall, England. So that's like a whole different time zone. He's on like he's across the world, and it's hard because I am very close with my children. So I went from seeing him every single day to I haven't seen him since February the 10th. 2020. So that's been pretty hard for all of us. Even though we talk to him on FaceTime and stuff like that, and we always try to at least talk to him at least once a week. I would like to talk to him more, but by us being on two different time zones, we all work and have jobs. It's kind of hard to find that time because when it's 3 o'clock in the morning here, it's like 8 o'clock over there and his day is getting started, whereas though we're in the bed. So it's kind of difficult in that way, but we always try to find a time, like even if it's on a Sunday when he's off and then we're all off on Sundays, we might have to get up bright and early just to get him on FaceTime because bright and early for us is like 12 p.m. for him. But we manage, we do it. It ain't easy. That's all I really can say is that it's not easy when you go from being used to things going one way, always having this person at your leisure. Anytime you feel like just picking up the phone and calling them or going into their room and saying, "Hey, what you in here doing?" or whatever, it's very difficult to now be to the point where you gotta wait for that person to call you back, or 2 days pass by, you haven't heard from them, you just wondering if everything's going okay. It's a little nerve-wracking, but we are all learning to kind of just understand that he has a different life now, and we have to just talk to him when we can. It sucks because we still hang out as a family. We set up family time to be together. Like all my children are grown, all of them are adults. So we set up time for everyone to hang out when we're all off from work, right? But then it sucks because he's not there. So at first that really like had me depressed because I felt like I was moving on with my life without him. But it's not that. It's truly it's not that. It's just simply that he lives in a different part of the world, and we just have to talk to him when we can.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm definitely in the same boat. Like, my son time zone is maybe only like an hour or two away from us, but like you said, even any kind of time zone adjustment, number one, that's so hard to make because every time I'm about to give him a call, then I have to always check the clock and make sure. And then, like you said, all of my kids are not grown. I still have two that are minors, and they sometimes will text him or message him, and then they'll feel like, oh, he didn't call back yet, because they're so used to him getting, right back to him. And then, they have to still have an understanding of what that time difference is. And then like you said, and then he was in college at first, so I feel like his schedule was a little more flexible, and now he's doing his master's degree, but he works. So on top of that, we got to consider, is he not off yet? Can he grab his phone? He works with kids with special needs, so a lot of times he can't have his phone while he's at work. um,
Right.
so it's still just like that piece of trying to always like get the family together, keep them together. We still try to hold on to as many traditions as possible. But, some people thought it was far when he was only, 5 or 6 hours from us. And we would always go up there. And then sometimes I would always say, like, if I call you twice and you don't answer within a certain time frame, I'm already on the road. But now we can't, we can't do that. And it used to be that way because I would, like you said, it would be such a panic. And I will say on the business side of it, when my son first went off to college, it really actually improved my customer service a lot because I always jokingly tell my clients, like, my phone is glued to my hand. Like, my son lives in another state. And if he ever needs to get to me, I want to never miss a text message, never miss a
Right.
call. Like, my mind is just always there. And especially with all that's going on in the world right now, I mean, like you said, my son is 6'5", 22 years old. He's an athlete. So my mind is always just like, if he needs me for anything at all, then I want to make sure that my phone, like, I don't want to miss a call. I don't want to miss a text
Right.
message. So it actually improved my customer service because people are always like, Ebony, respond back so fast. But I'm just like, I'm not going to, my phone is literally in my hand. I'm not going to lie and say that it's not, because my son has been, gone for so long. And even now,
Mhm.
it's been 5 years for us since he, went off to college, but now even being further away, it's just like still a transition. So do you guys, I know on our end, what we did was we kind of adapted a few years ago, maybe like 8 or 9 years ago, we transformed like our holidays and especially Christmas. So we started this Christmas tradition where we still do gifts and we still do gift exchange. Santa leaves gifts at home still for the kids under the tree. We still decorate and
Mhm.
all of that. But we started maybe like 8 or 9 years ago focusing on making memories. So what we allow the kids to do is kind of pick a location, and we do it in advance. So maybe say like January of that year, in planning for Christmas holiday of that year. So that gives us about 12 months to kind of book
Mhm.
where we want to go at, get everything paid for, get us all, everything that we need, our supplies and so forth. So my kids absolutely have gravitated to this tradition and they absolutely love it. So it gives everybody something to look forward to. Um, and my husband and I have even basically solidified that no matter what, even if our kids get older, they have their own families, like, we'll take on making sure that Christmas vacation is paid for everyone. Everyone is, able to come and join, because we never want, we just thinking in the long haul, 15 years from now, we don't want our kids to be like, oh, we have to work, we can't come. Like, I want them to be able to take this time aside the same way we've been able to do. And even if they don't take vacation all year, I want them to still make it set into their lives as like this Christmas kind of holiday tradition. Um, so we have planned, because I have not seen my son since April of this year. So we have planned, we were supposed to be going to Mexico, but COVID kind of changed that. So we have planned for this Christmas to go to visit him. And we have this whole event planned out. We really try to do it up around Christmas time. And again, not necessarily for gifts, but just that family time. So we have like all kind of different events we'll do. We'll do escape rooms. If we're somewhere where it's snow, we'll have stuff set to do like the ski slopes. Like, we just plan so many events. So it's like not a moment that we're not really making memories for that time that we have with each other. And I
Mhm.
know your son is military, so it's a little different where he can't really just call his schedule. Um,
Yeah.
but do you guys have anything specifically that you've been kind of thinking for, not even if it's Christmas, but just like to make like a special moment, since he is, I mean, he's literally, like you said, across the globe. So he's not even just a car ride away.
Well, um, we do have a Christmas tradition. It's at home. One of the things that I will say about me and basically my whole immediate family, COVID really didn't mess up holidays for us because we've always been we've always done our holidays in like a small setting anyway. So holidays will still be special for us because it's always just been us. Now, one of our traditions is to take a family photo. We always do a photo shoot. My son, he's in the military serving his term now, but I know that this won't always be his life. He won't always live in England. He's just there for now. Now, he did let me know that he is coming home for Christmas. I don't know exactly what date because he's still working on that, but if everything goes the way how we've talked about and how we plan, he will be here with us for Christmas. So we still do plan on doing our Christmas photo shoot like we always do every year. We always do either like themed pajamas. We always do something. You know, we do the same color. We and color coordinated. We always come up with some different idea, and then we open up our gifts on Christmas Eve. We've been doing that for years. We cook together on Christmas Eve. We make desserts and stuff, and we open up our gifts. We basically stay up all night long and do have like a little small house family party. So by us always being in that small setting like that, this Christmas is still looking exactly the same for us. We're still going to do the same stuff that we do every year, our same tradition, our picture, and just our time together on Christmas Eve.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel the same way. Like it's always a struggle, and my other son is about to go to college next year, and he also wants to go like across the country. So everybody is kind of doing their own thing. The only thing I feel like is kind of hard for me a little bit is because we were kind of in the process of trying to pinpoint our forever home, and I feel like it's really hard right now because we're in a transition with my kids. So I would hate to, go to a specific state and then find out, with all my kids not being grown or not even out of high school yet, and I basically find out now one child is still 20 hours from me. So I feel like now we're in a piece where we have to kind of like revamp our plans on what we plan on doing, because and maybe stay put where we are just a little longer, which is okay with me. It's not like I have a problem with where we are now. I just feel like it just restructured what our original plans are, because it's really hard when your kids, become adults now, and then they decide that this is what they want to do and this is their business plans, and you can't necessarily, we can't plan our lives and, restrict them from being able to start their businesses or grow whatever they had planned for what they want to do with their life. So I always feel like that to me is kind of like the hardest struggle, on just like always having those conversations like, so what do you plan on doing? Like, do you plan on also moving 15 hours from us, or will you, still possibly be around, or like, what's your thoughts to kind of figure out? And my kids are all so different, which you probably can agree as a mom that, your kids are so different. Everybody has different personalities. So just being able to keep that in place is always like really, really important to me.
That's important to me as well. I can't predict where they would go or where they would move or whatever, but they know how I feel about Christmas. Like that's just one holiday that we all must come together.
Yeah.
I'm a homebody. I don't really travel for Christmas. I wouldn't mind doing it a time or two, but I am really truly a homebody. I like to be home. I love to be home, actually. I love it. So everything that I have planned really takes place in the home, which works out well because we are in the middle of a pandemic. So I'm good. I'm fine. I can't wait till Christmas. None of my plans have been stopped.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it. And I love Christmas as well. And I think because we created these like traditions and things like that, my kids actually look forward to Christmas. So I know when I asked my daughter to put like the grocery list together for last week, she had on it like pull out Christmas decorations, like she's ready to put them up 100%. And they don't even care if we're not here. They want the tree up. They want the inside lit up. They want the outside lit up.
My tree up yet is because I don't feel like hearing it. The backlash. I live in a house full of men. I'm the only woman in my house. So as soon as if I pull that tree out too soon, I know I'm gonna have to hear about it. So I'm trying to wait until at least like November the 15th before I put it up.
Yeah, and I feel like our family is about to go through that tradition. So at first, before I had my daughters, it was just myself, my husband, and my two boys. So I was always the only female. So I feel like every time we took trips or vacations, then I had to deal with the boys, like always wanting to take a pit stop to the basketball court. Like you said, always wanting to see about workouts, always wanted to, like, they never wanted to do the fun girl stuff. So now our lives are transitioning because my oldest son is in Houston and my other son, my 18-year-old, is about to go off to college. And like I said, he definitely wants to go to like Texas or Cali or somewhere far. And now it's about to be like the flip side of it, where it's going to be my husband and the three girls. And one thing I do love about it is like my girls are with all the girly stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like my girls are with the creative. They love to like come up with stuff.
You got it good.
My girls are with it. So I feel like that everything is like just about to begin because the boys can just sleep. I mean, we can go on a vacation. These boys will just sleep in till 1 o'clock. Like they don't care. They don't want to go to the museum. They don't want to do crafts. They don't want to paint. You know, you always got to find the boy stuff to do. But my girls, like you can literally come up with any idea, and my girls are pretty much like with doing everything. So I have the support of my girls, especially because they're the babies. So the boys don't give us that much of, you know, too much hassle when they want to pull the Christmas stuff out because they see it like, you know, the kids basically. But I'm probably putting my tree up pretty soon. And we usually always have a tradition where the day after Thanksgiving, our tree is already up. And that's like the latest. Like the day after Thanksgiving is like the latest my tree is ever been.
For me, my tree, Thanksgiving dinner, my tree is up. Everything, all the Christmas. I really don't even do fall decorations besides my porch. But like in the house, I kind of just leave it the way that because my house is decorated in like a very like farmhouse chic type style, a little bit of rustic in there. So to me, that's fall. I just leave it that way. But then Christmas, I break out all the stuff. By Thanksgiving, my Christmas stuff is out.
Yeah, I'm thinking about this year just skipping right over Halloween and just going straight to the tree, basically. Like, that's how I kind of feel about it. Like, I'm ready to get my stuff up. I see Sam's Club is putting out, you know, more stuff. And for the first time last year, I literally loaded my front lawn with all kind of stuff. Like, so, and I always wanted to really like, you know, do up a house, especially because we have a pretty large house, and my husband is always like hating on my Christmas lights and my decorations and stuff. And for the first time, I was just like, look, whether you like it or not, we are lighting this place up. So I was able to pull it off last year. I'm going to stick in like maybe 5 to 6 more inflatables this year. Like I probably had maybe like 6 inflatables last year. So I'm going to amp it on up to maybe like, if I can get like 10 to 12 inflatables, like a whole scenery out front and put like lights on the grass and all of that stuff, like I'm really trying to do it up. So the earlier to me, the better.
Yeah.
So if I could basically, I know Halloween is just in a few days, but I'm pretty much like for Halloween, I'm ready to put my Christmas stuff up and just, you know, the treaters can come around to Santa and snowman and stuff out front because I'm ready to, I'm all in this year.
I'm ready.
Especially because I'm so excited about our vacation and going. And we're the same way because we're like super homebodies. We really don't take a lot of vacations throughout the year, like really at all. We pretty much are home. So when we started this tradition, but we really have implemented like some really cool stuff for this Houston trip. So I'm excited, everybody. And this is our first Winnebago trip. So we're going to rent like a Winnebago. So the kids are super excited about that. And we'll be first time basically road trippers. I didn't want to put my kids on flights right now. Which I know that a lot of people have been doing it, and it's not a lot of reported cases. I guess nobody's really putting out there that flights, and I know a lot of airlines are doing stuff to do like social distancing and all that other stuff. But I still like, even though it's far, we're gonna try this 22-hour road trip and see how it goes and see how it pans out. So, but the last
hopefully hopefully y'all have a good time. I know y'all make the best of it.
Yeah, we'll have a good time. And another thing, because it's basically around like going close to New Year, with my son being gone and my other son about to go off to college, like I feel like I had one night planned to do like vision boards and stuff like that. So So I have like a lot of different things planned between the whole trip. So hopefully we all make the best of it and just have a good time. But even when we go, we pretty much are just going to be in a house, you know what I'm saying? Just all together. It's just like, taking, and we do take some gifts with us as well. So we'll pack gifts up. So everybody will be able to still, open gifts Christmas morning, have breakfast, make breakfast together, do it, on different locations and things like that. But it's become pretty cool. But the last thing I wanted to do with you is I have like a little segment that's called Less Work. So on a lighter note, I want to kind of just throw out like a spitfire round of different things, and you tell me the first one that comes to mind, kind of what's your preference, what would you prefer? So it's a really fun segment just to kind of get to know you a little better and kind of what things that you like. So the first round is, so what would you prefer, pancakes or waffles?
Pancakes.
Okay, what would you prefer, cash or credit?
Cash.
What would you prefer, shots or mixed drinks?
Mixed drinks.
What would you prefer, party or stay at home?
Stay at home.
What would you prefer, Ravens or Cowboys?
Raven.
You know you have to say Ravens. What would you prefer, roller coasters or the swimming pool?
The swimming pool.
What would you prefer, heels or sneakers?
Sneakers all day.
And it's political season, so what would you prefer, Trump or Biden?
Not Trump.
So thank you again for being a part of the podcast. This was really, really fun. So lastly, if you want to just tell us a little bit about the future of Love Events and just plug some of your social medias.
So the future of Love Events, the way that looks is I'm going to be taking a brief break from Love Events. I am booked for 2 events. One is in November and one is in December. I'm not currently booking any other events. I want to take a small break from Love Events just to revamp and rethink some of the, I just need time to regroup as far as the services that I want to offer and focusing more on the clients that I would like to be servicing. I need to really work on establishing my brand more and not just taking any jobs that's available, focusing more on basically representing who I want people to see me as, who I want people to see Love Events as. So it's for a good cause, it's for a good reason, and it won't be a long break, but I definitely do plan on in the near future taking a short break just to get things working better for my customers and my clients, because I really do care about them, and I want this to be a valuable service, and I want it to be valued also. I also in my future, as far as like down the road, down the line, I have a goal, and my goal is to have an event venue. I plan on having that no later than 2022. 2022, we should have a venue. And that's just giving myself some time. I wouldn't mind if it came before then, but no later than 2022, I project that my family and I will have our own venue.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's awesome. I really think that, like we said, that's kind of like big event spaces and things like that. And having your own, especially in your field, would just be, taking everything to that next level. And sometimes we do have to take time as business owners to kind of rebrand, revamp. I know recently I revamped all my contracts, as well as maybe 2 years ago, I rebranded my whole business. I'm not sure if you remember, but we used to be Mr. and Mrs. DMV Real Estate, and I rebranded to the MacArthur Group. So to me, that was just like a transition space as well. So, anytime that you're trying to take your business to the next level, then sometimes you do have to kind of step out there on faith, and take that time out to kind of rebrand and rebuild and just kind of get your thoughts together on everything. And things are forever changing. So I feel like it's something when you take your business serious, that will always happen. I feel like the same thing as an investor with my leases and my contracts. Like I feel like every time I turn around, somebody does something that makes me add something else to the contract, you know. And I feel like contracts are in place because somebody did something that makes you say, hey, you know, I need to put this additional clause in there. I need to add this. So it's just always a learning lesson and always just building and growing, especially for small
Absolutely.
businesses as well.
Absolutely.
So do you want to plug some of your social medias? Like where can we find, you know, all your information about anyone in the future that wants to book, you know, events or to reach out to you
Oh,
for
most definitely.
questions or anything?
Absolutely. So, well, first and foremost, my website is www.loveevents.net. You can go on there and you can book, and you can also just look at previous events that I've done. I'm also on Instagram. On Instagram, I am love ___ events. So that's love, three underscores, and then events. Um, my picture on there is a picture of a pink chandelier. That's how you'll know it's me. But it's love ___ events. And then on Facebook, I am Rolanda Manning. But all of my Love Events stuff is under that is connected to my Love Events business page on Facebook. But you can find me under Rolanda Manning. That's ROLANDA, and last name Manning, MANNING, and that's Facebook.
Okay, well, thank you so much. I definitely appreciate this. This was an awesome episode. Thank you again for your time. And I look forward to all your great events. You know, we like to plan our anniversary party and we canceled it because of COVID, because we like to do it big also. So hopefully we can get back our big anniversary parties. Hopefully we can get back to our event space. I would love to throw my 15th anniversary in my own event space. So that's one of my goals.
Mm,
You know, I would love events
mm,
and basically just light it up, make sure, you know, it's bright.
mm.
Um,
Girl, we would like that would be personal for me right there. Like that would be because we here, like me and you, we on the same wavelength as far as the core. So, so yeah, that would
I
be
would
like
love,
something that would be like a kid in a candy store.
yeah, nobody's coming. Like once I do my 15th, I already have it all envisioned for my 15th. I just need COVID to kind of act right so that I can be able to get my events, get my event space. You know, I would just look that would just be amazing. Like if Love Events can come into, you know, my own event space on my 15th anniversary and just kind of make it amazing. Like nobody's coming.
Girl, they ain't ready. They not ready. They not ready for
Ready
love
for this
events
event.
and the authors. They not
Ready
ready.
for this event. You know, they definitely not ready. And you know, we're super private, but when it comes, so our events are pretty exclusive. It ain't gonna be all on the gram. You know, we don't have it out there. But when you get that invite, you already know what to expect. You know what I'm saying? And you know, who
What?
knows what Jerome might pull out the hat. You know, he likes to pull in all kind of creatives. You know, we might have,
We might bring in another singer. Like we just don't know. We gotta stay tuned. We don't
yeah,
know.
you got to stay tuned. You know, I never know. I'm trying to, because when we throw events, it's like two separate events. Like I'm throwing my event, and then Jerome is always conjuring up his surprise event on the back end. So I feel like everything I have going, next to you know, somebody blowing fire or something comes out, a special hookah lounge I ain't know about, somebody, you know, on a banjo. I don't know what could happen because then he puts in his own twist on every event.
He does that. He does. He
Yeah.
that's
So
the Libra in him. He does that.
yeah, he adds his own piece. So I can't wait. I'm excited. Um, and I will definitely be reaching out to Love Events because that's my vision. Like I would love to see that happen. For our big anniversary party coming back. We just, you know, need COVID to
Definitely.
pull out. Everybody stay safe, stay social distance so that I can have my party.
I know, right?
Right. So again, thank you so much. I definitely appreciate it. I would love to have you back on the podcast once you get, you know, all your rebranding, come back, and especially once you have your event space, you know, definitely come back on the podcast, plug all of that information, you know, anything to build, you know, businesses, women in business, working moms, you know, I absolutely love it all. So again, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for interviewing me. Like this was really fun, and I can't wait to come back. I really can't.
Okay, thank you so much. I definitely appreciate it, and we'd love to have you back. Um, so everybody, thanks for tuning in for another episode of the Working Mom Podcast.
Working Mom Podcast.